What is going on? Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Today, with summer fast approaching, we're going to be going over how to keep your foundation and just your base, your skin, all of that matte, not moving there all day through the summer when you have oily skin. I know that everyone who has any skin type needs to know how to do this, but oily skin specifically, we're always the ones suffering when we're sweating through the summer. This is how to keep your oils from breaking through. All right, let's scam them. Okay, so when it comes to oily skin, the first way to keep your oils at bay over the summer is to start with your skincare. So I'm not going to go into my skincare right now because my skin is trash. I'm still working on it. But one thing that I can say for sure is you need to moisturize. If you don't moisturize, then our already oily skin is going to feel the need to overcompensate and give even more oils because we're not putting moistures in there. If you have moisture already in your skin won't feel the need to overproduce oils. My moisturizer that I recommend is by Fresh. It's the Fresh Rose Deep Hydration Face Cream. First step, moisturize. Now when it comes to your face sweating, when it comes to humidity, just all the natural oils you have on your face, the next step is the most important to making sure that none of those can break through your foundation, and that is primer. What I like to do is I like to use a mattifying primer, and that's what I feel keeps my base stuck in place all day, and it also controls my oil like nobody's business. My favorite primer is the Makeup Forever Mattifying Primer. Not only does it keep my skin super matte all day, but it also keeps my makeup in place, and so I can wear my foundation for 12 hours, 24 hours, and my makeup looks fine. You definitely don't want to overdo it with this primer because it is very, very mattifying. Now, I personally am one of those people who does my brows before my base, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay, so now we're gonna go in with the foundation. I was Team Beauty Blender for a very long time, and then I learned that using a brush is better because you're not changing the formula of the foundation at all, and you're not making it more watery, which means that it can stay its formula and it can stay thick and stay on your face, rather than if you push water in with the foundation onto your face, then you're making it thinner and making it more liable to start falling apart and start thinning and moving around throughout the day when you're sweating and stuff. So the brush that I use is actually the Sephora Pro Foundation brush. It's the brush number 47. This is what it looks like. It has a bit of a tapered edge, which makes it easy to do the stippling motion, which I will get to in a minute. So you don't want to get too much on your brush at first, so I just like to get a very small amount. So the foundation I'm going to be going in with is the Lancôme foundation. I like this one because it's thick, but it doesn't feel cakey, and it also stays matte and stays in place without feeling overly drying. So there's probably only 3 foundations that I trust all the way over the summer when I'm sweating. I honestly wore this one when I was working out the other day, and it lasted all day afterwards anyways. The 3 that I would suggest are this one, the Lancôme, the Estee Lauder Double Wear, and the Too Faced Peach Perfect foundations. So the reason that I'm using this one instead of those other 2 is the Peach Perfect sometimes can just feel a little thick and cakey, so you have to be careful with that one because it does get a little thick. And then the Estee Lauder just has, sadly, flashback issues. The Peach Perfect one, sometimes I have to touch up maybe once throughout the day and that's it. It's a little thick, but it will look gorgeous and satiny on the skin. This one just feels the most comfortable on the skin, this Lancôme. You get it on the brush, and then we're going to go in with stippling motions because you want to pat it into the skin rather than rubbing. If you're rubbing, it'll give you an ugly, streaky look. The more time you spend patting in your foundation and blending it into the skin, the better it'll look in the long run and the longer it'll last without getting cakey and breaking up. blending is key. So one thing to keep in mind this summer with your foundation is that a lot of people's face and bodies are not the same color. I personally like to match my foundation with my body over the summer because I'm going to be wearing a lot of tank tops and I don't want to have different shades. So one way to make sure that your skin tone matches your face, so one way to make sure that your body matches your face is to actually swatch the colors in the store on somewhere like your neck or your chest where you want it to match. And then even if it's too dark for your face, like this one is actually too dark for my face, it matches my body perfectly. Once you blend it in, you won't be able to tell the difference. People really be dramatic. It's totally easy to just blend gentler when you're going around your eyebrows, and part of this tippered brush's benefits is that you can use the tip and just gently swipe product around it without messing anything up. So now that I've finished the first general layer of my face, I'm going to go over and just cover up the places that need just a little more coverage, that I have more redness, more texture, things like that that just need slightly more foundation. For example, my cheeks are usually a big spot, and then right under my nostrils. Why am I using this to point? A big part of not being clockable this summer is you need to blend your face to your neck. So I don't like to do a full coat right here. I just get a little bit on my brush and then I pat it into the jawline, and then I just blend it out, slowly carrying the extra product down. So at this point, this decision is up to you which way you go. If you're going for more of a simple everyday look and you just want to put some foundation on the eyelid to blend in the skin tone, pop some lashes on, some bronzer, and be done, you can do that. Now, if you did want to do that, one thing that I would keep in mind is that your eyelids also get oily, just like the rest of your face. Plus, the fact that they are something that open and closes means that they are prone to creasing. So, to prevent that, you want to prime your eye. So, I know that I already put primer on my eye when I originally put it on, but I want to put another coat. This is a part that I want to stick extra well because I don't want any ugly creasing. I want it to be my skin, but better. So, if you want to do that step, go ahead and put your primer in the eyelid and then also under here. I will not be doing that because I'm actually going to go in with eyeshadow today, but always, always, always prime your eyelids before putting foundation on it. And then also when we go in with powder, you would also want to set your eyelids as well with the powder. So since I'm not doing an everyday look, I'm actually doing an eyeshadow look, I'm going to go in with concealer now. This is my current favorite concealer. This one definitely has a tendency to get cakey, so I like to use just a little bit and then blend it out. This concealer is really good about not creasing and also hiding your pores. So now I'm going in with the concealer. This tends to dry down very quickly, so I would do one eye at a time. I explained I use a brush for my foundation because I want it to stay with its formula, stay thick and become my skin, whereas this I want a little bit thinner because I already have a product underneath, so I go in with a beauty blender. So part of keeping your foundation last and not break up during the summer through the hot sweat and your oily skin, you don't want your products to be too thick. If they're too thick, yikes. Even after I blended it in, I'm going to go in and I'm going to blend over it one more time to make sure that the product really is pressed in and thinned out and become part of my base rather than sitting on top. So now if you take a look, everything looks extremely blended in. Most of my redness is covered up, and now I'm ready to set my base in. Setting your face
is key.
If you have oily skin and you're not setting your base, that's your first problem. Now, not just any setting powder is going to do the trick. Some setting powders will make it too cakey and kind of undo everything that you've just did. Some setting powders, they're nice, but they don't do anything. I personally use a very heavy duty setting powder, and that is the one, the only Miss Laura Mercier. Laura Mercier is the OG go-to for oily skin, and that's because it's so finely milled that it blends into the base without being cakey, without standing on top, without dramatizing any fine lines, because of how soft and thinly milled it is. Didn't I already say that? Because of how great quality it is. It makes everything more blendable on top of your face. If you don't set your foundation, then trying to go in with bronzer and contour and blush is just going to be a patchy nightmare. Again, a damp beauty blender is what I would suggest, because it helps to push the product in and blend it out. You can also dust it over your foundation with a brush, but I wouldn't suggest that because I just feel like it's not really blending it in and setting the face. It's just putting it on top. So even though we just pressed in the powder, I also want to brush off any excess, because again, I don't want product sitting there. Anything that wasn't already pushed in, blended in, sealed in with my makeup doesn't need to be there. So I'm brushing it off so I can go in with the next step. Really, any fluffy brush you have is good for this. We're not trying to go in crazy right now. We're just trying to get off extra products. And I'm just going to use swirling motions. This is also important because if you're using a wet beauty blender to push in your powder, sometimes it'll leave a bump just because, I don't know, something to do with the water. I'm not a scientist, but sometimes it'll do that. And you want to blend that out because we don't want anything sitting on top of the face. So now for contour. I like to use the Too Faced Chocolate Soleil bronzer. Highlight you need to come at very carefully. If you use a huge chunky highlighter, you're just doing exactly what we just worked so hard not to get, that shiny look. We want it to look like the sun is hitting your cheekbones and define it, but we don't want the whole face sparkly. So the product that I prefer to use for highlight at this moment is Face and the James Charles palette. So I have seen him say that he suggests you do your setting spray first and then go in with the highlight, because then it'll really pop. So setting spray is a whole nother thing that we need to talk about. So since we've used such good products up to this point, you can go without setting spray, and I have the oiliest skin and it'll last. But if you want to just give it that extra layer of strength, setting spray will make sure that it just lasts all day. Go to sleep, you'll wake up still looking cute. Please don't do that. So a lot of people swear by the Urban Decay All-Nighter. That didn't do anything for me personally, but I like to use the Urban Decay De-Slick setting spray. It's specifically marketed towards oily skin and keeping oils at bay, and I think that it 100% works. Like, sis, you right. So I shake it up. You don't want to be too close because then you're just making it wet. So I go about an arm's length away and then just spray a few times until, I don't know, you feel good. I like to go all in with it, personally. This one also just smells better than the all-nighter, which is a lot of people's complaints because it smells like trash. Okay, so now we're going to go in with Face from the James Charles palette. Now, lips don't really have anything to do with oils. That's just how you want to line your lips, how you want to, if you want matte, if you want glossy. That doesn't really matter. So I'll let you choose. I'm going to do my lips and I'll be right back. Okay, so the last tip I have for oily skin for this summer is setting your eyes. We talked about earlier, if you're just going to be doing a light makeup look and putting foundation on your eyes, how to set that. But if you're setting eyeshadow, it's a whole nother game. As someone with extremely oily skin and my eyelids are the peak of oiliness, I've had to get the most heavy duty eye primer I could find. The Smashbox 24-hour Photofinish eyelid primer. Now, I don't just go in with this because, first of all, I like to also have a little bit of concealer for the eyeshadow to grab onto. I feel like it makes it more pigmented. But also this alone, your eyeshadow will stay for like a week straight. I just put a small amount of the eyeshadow primer onto my finger. Just a little bit. Barely anything. Just a tiny amount of concealer. And those will blend together as I'm patting it into my eyelid. And so this is what it should look like. I don't set it with a powder or anything. So I'm going to finish up this look and then I will be right back. And this is the final look. And if you like this video, go ahead and subscribe because I will be doing a whole kind of face how-to series. I'm going to be doing eyelashes, base, eyebrows, just really everything. It's just going to be a whole how-to series. Like, don't be confused, that's not my whole channel, but that's just going to be a series that I'm starting, and this is the first of it. So I will see you guys later. Bye!